Hello. Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories, Episode 1. Now, what do you cover for an episode number 1? It's my grand opening, so to speak. Well, duh, clowns. The clown, a very interesting character. Over time, it developed from a cute, sweet little thing, super mega popular thing, to just creepy, crazy, outright terrifying things. The clown, so interesting. Well, today I'll give you a brief history of the clown. I'll go over some of my favorite clown props, a lot of which are subtle things I haven't shown you yet. I'll tell you a fun story or two. And overall, we'll just have a good old rockin' time talking about clowns. Hello! Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories. No, I'm not going to talk like that the whole time. Bet you can't guess what this episode's about. Well, you haven't been paying attention if you can't, because I told you before this scene. Probably already lost several of you because of clowns, and some people are terrified at the sight of them. Or maybe you didn't want to watch me struggle through a YouTube video, and that's totally fine. I get either one of those things. Let's take that off so I can speak more normally. Today, I want to do a few things. I want to educate you on clowns a little bit. I want to tell you some history. It'll be brief, don't worry. This isn't a history lesson, but you should appreciate some things about the clown. I'm going to tell you a funny anecdote. I'm going to tell you about all these lovely finds I've found throughout the years at thrift stores and a little something about them. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with them coming up. It's amazing in my photography series. And I'll tell you a funny personal story, funny to me anyway. So let's get started, shall we? So, those of you eagle-eyed people noticed the tie disappeared without me taking it off. That was a cut. Sorry. Clowns. They've been around hundreds and hundreds of years. Probably as long as people have been around. Some form of clowns, jesters, all that business. Throughout history, clowns are documented. But it wasn't until the 1800s, really, that there was a famous clown who was Joseph Grimaldi. He's the one that popularized the classic white face paint. Late 1800s, circus clowns came into play. We're all pretty familiar with those. And, over time that developed, there's a lot of famous clowns. I'm not going to go into all of them. You're probably not going to know a lot of their names. Emmett Kelly was the sad hobo clown. You may know. You may have seen the pictures of the kind of tramp clown, I think they called him. Around the time clowns got super popular was Bozo the clown in the 1950s. And Bozo was huge. Huge sensation. Comic books, TV shows. He had a TV show that was syndicated throughout the country. It was so popular, and there'd be local bozo shows everywhere with a different bozo, because there's all kinds of bozos out there, and they had these, I guess sometimes there were everyday kids programs in the morning. WG in Chicago had one I watched all the time when I was young and homesick. I loved the Bozo show. I loved Bozo. Bozo was a sweet, fun clown. Ronald McDonald modeled after Bozo, who continues to sell you burgers to this day. But happy clowns kind of disappeared with John Wayne Gacy in the 1970s. You're my first familiar with John Wayne Gacy? Serial killer, murdered 33 young men and boys, and I believe buried them in his basement or something. It's a horrifying story. He had a side gig, other than murdering, it's not really a gig, of Pogo the Clown, where he worked child's birthday parties and stuff, probably where he cased some of his victims. And that, I think, forever kind of warped the perception of clowns, fairly so, right? There's this particularly terrifying image of Gacy in his smiling yet horrifyingly creepy-looking clown makeup you may or may not have seen. Anyway, if you're a serial killer fan, you probably already know about him. If you don't, maybe you want to look him up. I'm certainly not glorifying him, but he is a fascinating case among serial killers. But like I said, Gacy really poisoned the clown well, so to speak, and turned it all kind of creepy. It wasn't that long after that. I think It was written. Hopefully I have that time frame right. And over time, it's just devolved into clowns being, basically to me, they're all creepy now, or supposed to be. Now, there was a time where they were just subtle creepy, and a lot of this stuff here is that. It wasn't intended as creepy. Some of these stuff you'd find in your grandmother's curio cabinet or something, because grandmothers love this kind of stuff. And a lot in thrift stores, because unfortunately grandmothers pass away, and nobody wants this clown shit, so it ends up in the thrift store until I find it and bring it back. So here it all is. I'll tell you stories quickly about all this stuff. But yeah, clowns. And all these big things like I have at Spirit nowadays, they're just outwardly super designed to be super creepy. And this isn't subtle. You know, it's subtle as a heart attack. And I like that stuff. I do like kind of the subtlety more. There's something more creepy about it, especially for photography. But I do like having all this stuff, obviously. Hope to have maybe one more big one after Clearance Day because everybody loves a big one. Now, let's get into some of this fun stuff here. I'll tell you a personal story, and then we'll get the hell out of here. So, I used this one in my photography recently, just kind of your basic clown. This is one of my favorites right here. This was a child's Jack in the Box. And this is, to me, horrifying for a child, especially when you look at the images on the side. Check out this dude right here. This was by some kid's bed who probably is in an insane asylum now. We have this lovely clown here where you can put all kinds of stuff down his pants. Isn't that nice? We have your classic ceramic clowns, my favorite of which being, this is an adaptation of a Norman Rockwell painting, if you know who that is. This is the clown cheering up the runaway child, which seems also as a precursor to murder and burying in the basement. Grandmothers love this kind of stuff, though. I had this picture on their wall. In hindsight, it's terrifying. We've got Broken Neck music box clown here. Fantastic. Love it. I'm going to throw it over there so we don't have to listen to that the whole time. And then this reminds me of the Poltergeist clown. I forgot to mention Poltergeist. And just amazing Goodwill find. And this legitimately was on the stick in its hand when I bought it. I don't know what this is. I do know it's inscribed with the name Beth, if you can see that. So weird. And I was carrying this out of the Goodwill, and some old lady, some old grandma still with us, tried to buy this off of me in the parking lot. But I was like, not if your name's Beth. If your name's not Beth, you can't have this. And her name wasn't Beth. Anyway, I tripped her and ran away with it. So I have that lovely thing, and I just accumulate these things, you know. I don't know why. Some of them I'm never going to use for anything other than to drag it out and show you. I just like having this stuff. There is something wrong with me. You probably already know that, but some of the stuff I try to use in my photography. I already tried this marionette clown, and forgive me, I'm not a professional puppeteer, if you can't tell. I don't know if this was designed to be creepy or not. It certainly is. I used it in a picture already where this clown is hanging over this girl in bed, and she's laying there terrified looking, because the idea is she dreams of this clown every night who is hanging over her bed and scaring her to death, but people didn't seem to like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the thought. Anyway, that's a lot of my good stuff there. I am the world's greatest clown. I have all kinds of clown pictures and clown plaques, and I had this when I was younger. You like how I keep dragging stuff out with no rhyme or reason. That was mine when I was a wee lad. I don't know who gave this to me or what was wrong with them, but I've held on to this dear cherished item all of these years. I don't know why I'm doing that accent. So the story, real quick, before we wrap this stuff up. Well, I do have one more thing to show you. I am manic. Get used to this. Hopefully you like this. Hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit it sarcastically. When I was, my parents divorced when I was around 13, and we lived with my grandparents for a while because things were kind of rough. And while I was there, it was my birthday, I think 13th birthday or whatever. There's a knock on the door one day, and this clown is standing there. My poor mom thought this was the greatest idea to brighten my spirits, my awkward teenage phase, to have this clown come over. He had a thing of balloons. He looked as embarrassed to be there as I was embarrassed to see them. He did this whole routine, gave me the balloons and left as quickly as he could, which we were both glad for. My poor mom. She is involved in several of the stories I'll tell on this channel, and I just loved her to death. She's not with us anymore, unfortunately, but she tried so hard. That was a clear miss, though, and I'll never forget it. Thanks, Mom. At least we have therapy. That's my fun clown story with that. These days, I try to integrate stuff into my photography. Several years ago, I had this fantastic idea that I wanted to do a scary cross-dressing clown in a kind of sexy vein, but I wanted it to be me. So, and my daughter says this ruined her middle school years when I posted this online. Unfortunately, here is that. That is me before I started getting tattooed. I love selling this at conventions. I love telling people that is me. It always brightens their day. You wouldn't believe how many of these I've sold. Like tons. Big frames, little frames. Makes me so happy. I hope people hang them up in the bathroom, over their bed. But honestly, they could throw it in the trash can. I don't care. I got the money. So do with it what you want. Hopefully when I get back on the road, I'll sell more of those. I have started a new series now, though, which I'm debuting on my website and the Instagrams and all that on Halloween. That's the Sexy Clown series, a whole series devoted to it. Mostly the ladies. However, I am kicking it off with another shot of me, the evolved version of this, even sexier all these years later. All this ink, more club hip outfit, and just unbelievably hot. I can't wait to bring that to you and ruin my daughter's later years. So you're welcome, Olivia. And all that other stuff's going to be coming. So hopefully everybody out there loves clowns and loves me, which is pretty much the same thing. So that's it for the clown episode. Hopefully you learned a lot, and we're happy to waste this time with me before you jump into something else. Next week, I'm going to do Halloween clearance episode, which I hope goes well. A lot of places already pulled the Halloween stuff off the shelves. I am going to attempt to find some cool stuff. Every year I love posting my finds. I spend way too much money on it. Looks like this year Spirit's going to be the only game in town. I am going to get there super early and fight off the hordes of people. Back elbow, trip, whatever I have to do to get in there first and get a couple cool things. So I hope to be showing you guys that, or I'll just sit here and cry for 15 minutes. Most of my videos I'll probably try to keep a little shorter than this. This was the first one. I had a lot of clown stuff to cover, and I thank you for joining me today. I thank you. We'll see you next time. Over time, I'm going to get better with all this stuff. Hopefully not saying as much. Maybe better lights, better audio, better content, better host. I'll find somebody else, you know. Thank you for joining me. I have enjoyed this clown episode very much and bringing joy and happiness into your homes. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Probably several of you just hopped right off here right away because clowns are a terrifying thing from some people. From some people. Ah! Hello! Why am I not telling you why I'm doing this? Why? I gave no setup whatsoever. I am such a bozo. Tank 3. Hello! Right into this. I'm not even going to bring it up. I am not going to mention that I say so many times. Because we are going to focus on that. They're probably going to notice anyway, but it's going to be way worse because I brought it up and I can't stop doing it, and I already want to quit my YouTube channel. Somebody else do this. Hello! Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories.